Kwame Shala, man. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Sabbath day. We made it through the week. All praise to the Most High God. Want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation. And that nation is Israel, right? What a day to be alive, man. What a time to be alive. A lot of stuff to be, watching and praying for. And it's a lot of things that happen in our life where we need to find a source of confidence, right? And we know our help and our confidence comes from the Most High God, man. And he sends what? His spirit, his comforter, to comfort us and to teach us all things, right? The title of today's lesson, Freestyle Friday, keep a savings, right? What do I mean by keep a savings? We're talking about keeping a savings account. That's the video. The video on my show is going to go into keeping a savings account, right? But we know that we're talking about keeping our salvation, right? So you're going to have to see this with spiritual eyes. Nonetheless, the advice that the sisters finna give is, it's sound advice though, but see it with spiritual eyes, right? And then we got some scriptures we'll break down. We got the brother Obadiah on the screen, the brother Denal. We got the brother Isaiah in spirit. We got the brother Baruch in spirit. Getting on kind of late, man. Kind of late tonight. Salakia for that, right? But we want to say shalom to the 12 tribes, the commandment keepers, and to the cleavers. Without further ado, let me share my screen, and we'll get the show on the road. Oh. No, it's going to start muted. Got to catch it. Come. The caption says, saving $1,000 will raise your frequency, right? So let's get into this. Let me see some. It says, many Americans do not have $500, let alone $1,000 in savings. If you're able to reach 1,000, it releases you from survival mode, energy, and you're able to save much more after that. The real work is getting there, right? So let's watch this and try to have it with spiritual eyes, right?
In your savings account. The reason why you want to make sure you have at least $1,000 is because it puts you in a security energy. When you are in survival mode, it affects how you look. It affects your magnetism. It affects how you come across to other people even. You don't.
Right. So from a spiritual standpoint, right? If you're one of those people, by the way, if you're one of those people that hates when, somebody's always stopping the media that they're showing on their page or they're reacting to, I'm sorry, because I'm going to stop it. And, I'm going to give y'all the spiritual sense throughout this video. But, what she said, as far as survival mode, she's saying if you don't have money in the bank, you're in survival mode. I'm here to let you know on a spiritual sense, if you don't have the Most High on your side, if you don't understand these scriptures and his commandments, you're in survival mode. That's why our people end up being at the hands of P. Diddy, because they're looking for fortune and fame, right? And then they get caught up in a bunch of mess because they were in survival mode. That's how our people get caught up selling drugs, joining gangs, joining fraternities. They don't know what to go to. They're just in survival mode because they don't have confidence. They don't have peace. They don't have security in their salvation, right? They don't have the true savings, the true salvation, right?
Have any money in your savings account at all, it affects you on a physical, spiritual, and mental level. Like you are always in survival mode. You're not even thinking about looking nice or anything like that. You are just trying to get to the next level. When you
right. So on a spiritual note, when you don't have the Most High in your life, man, it's going to affect the way you look. It's going to affect the way you talk. It's going to affect the people that you're around. It's going to affect the jobs that you choose. It's going to affect your family structure. It's going to affect everything. Your decision making when you don't have the Most High in your life. So, she's trying to say that if you don't have the confidence of money in your life, it's going to affect everything, which is true too. Because if you broke, it's hard to be happier. It's hard. It's harder to be happy when you're broke. I agree with her. But guess what? It's harder to be happier. It's harder to have joy when you don't have the Lord, right? When you don't have the Lord, it's a struggle to wake up. When you don't have the Lord, you'll fall into the rat race. When you don't have the Lord, you'll be worried all the time. When you don't have the Lord, you don't know. Because half the time when we follow in the Lord, our confidence comes in the Lord, right? So a lot of times when we follow the Lord, right, we just give that stress over to Him. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have that outlet, if you don't have that stress reliever, which is the Lord, you're gonna be stressed out 24/7. You're not gonna want to wake up in the morning.
At least $1,000 in your savings account, it gives you a little bit of breathing room. So if you have to save just $25 every single time you get paid, or anytime somebody sends you some money, just put that in your savings account. Put that in a separate account. Anytime you come across some money, just save $25. When you get $1,000, it is going to feel like an accomplishment. I have been there before. Trust me, I have been there, and I understand how it feels to be in survival mode. But when
right, so, and on a spiritual note, because we taking this from spiritual eyes, hey, you may think that you're not worthy. You may think that you're dirty. Hey, man, like she said, put $25 in, every now and then. Eventually, you're gonna get there. Eventually, you're gonna have that confidence and that peace in the Lord. What does that look like, man? Try a new fast, right? Try I don't know, try reading more, right? Try
Be
reaching
more
more
disciplined.
people. What'd you say?
Try being more disciplined.
Right? Try being more disciplined, right? Having more self-restraint. Try chastising yourself from worldly things, right?
Logging out of social media.
Right? Social media, whether it be music, whether it be certain hobbies you do, right? Try self-restraint. Try giving yourself reading challenges, right? Say, man, this whole week I'm gonna read 5 chapters. You got to put $25 in the bank, man. That's gonna start increasing your faith and your spiritual savings account. And that spiritual savings account is what's gonna give you the confidence to move about in the world.
Your first $1,000 in your savings account, you feel so much better about yourself. You feel so much better about life. You feel a little bit more secure. And of course, you should always aim for more money in your savings account, but that first $1,000 does make a difference. It feels better. It's
right. And so, this is the thing. What she's saying is not a lie. Once you have the confidence of money, right, and you like, man, I got a savings account and I got money coming in, right? Once you have that confidence, you talk to people a little better. You're a little bit more patient with people, patient with things in your life, tribulations. You're more charitable, right? You're more giddy. Your experiences in life go up because you're not trying to save money and be like, nah, I can't do that this time. Nah. So there's a certain level of confidence that comes with the savings account. As much so, there should be a certain level of confidence that comes as your faith increases. The savings account that you should be focused on is your faith, right? Adding to your faith, right? Adding to your faith. And you'll get to a point in your faith where you feel like you've accomplished a lot. That's that $1,000. But you can always go for more. You can always have greater faith, right? The way I look at it is there's always people on the earth with more faith than I do, right? And sometimes in life, people that commit sin all the time, they're not even keeping the commandments. They got more faith than a lot of people. And I understand, well, they have faith, they be keeping the commandments because what is faith? What is faith? I understand that. But some of these people got crazy faith, man. So it's like, imagine having crazy faith with keeping the commandments. You have no cares and no worries in the world. You have the biggest savings account spiritually that there is.
When it comes to faith, typically people stack up on faith when they get experience. You know what I'm saying? The more you have experience, the more faith you build up. A lot of brothers
what do you call that experience? Testimonies.
Man. A lot of brothers that go on the street corners every week and kind of do what we do is try to reach the lost sheep You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers that do that, their faith, they have a lot more faith than somebody that, you know, might stay home, you know, and doesn't hit the street corners and stuff like that. Why do I say that? It's because they encounter a lot more things that happen out there, right? They have more conversations that you'll probably never have, with strangers, with other nations, things that will anchor them in what they believe, versus you know, you kind of being your own anchor, right? We can say a lot of times that it doesn't matter, but it does help when you talking to somebody that's from Sudan, and he's acknowledging what you're saying, and he's agreeing with you, and he knows it to be true too. When you're talking to an Ishmaelite brother or Elamite brother, and they're co-signing, it just builds up. It adds to your faith. The same thing, like for instance, a brother just added. He said something about people that be in sin have a lot more faith, because a lot of times if you're in sin, it puts you in a lot of predicaments where you need the Most High to save you, right? And sometimes it can be detrimental because He can be saving you to give you enough rope to hang yourself with. But nonetheless, you've seen miracles where somebody might have shot at you and you got out alive or whatever, right? And it just stacks on to that faith, right?
Oh man.
Hey,
Experience.
if I could add too, you know, I don't. Well, I know you might go into just like, you know, the benefits of having a savings account, but I'm gonna just take it like a situation that I was just currently in for an example, man. Uh, I've been trying to do better, a lot better at saving money, you know. So I had a savings stored up, you know, and I'm, you know, thinking like, all right, if I really need to withdraw some money, I know I could have it in there. So it was a situation where I needed to withdraw some money. Turns out I didn't have it in my savings because I forgot I had set a payment up to draft out of my account. And what my bank did, because the money wasn't in my checking, they pulled it from my savings account. Now, I'm just saying that to say, like, you know, it's good to have a savings because in certain situations, when you really need it, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it could be pulled from and it could save you out of certain situations. Or any event that you fall into, like spiritually, you know, some traps and snares, maybe the Lord will have a little bit more grace on you because of the money that you saved up spiritually, you know. And that's kind of like the benefits of having it. Cause like I said, you know, that's something that me at 27 trying to do a lot better at now. And that's something that should have been doing it from a spiritual aspect, but just thinking about like a recent situation, how it affected me then, it's just thinking about like how much more in the spirit where if we put up some funds and then all of a sudden we fall into a trap or a snare, the Lord can just have that grace on us because we put that money up spiritually.
Come on, man. Mighty Point. This is a book of Matthew, chapter 6 and 19. It's kind of, you can't really see it, man. It's very tiny, but I'll read it out loud. It says, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon the earth, right? Even though a savings account will give you some security in life, don't worry about those treasures on the earth. It says, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. That spiritual savings account that we're talking about. Faith, right? Where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also, right? So Mighty Point, like the brother said, man, a lot of times charity, alms, a lot of these things will get us out of these situations that we're in. But that's that spiritual savings account. That's our faith being built up to do the right things so God will look out for us when we need him the most, when we need that spiritual bill to come and be paid.
About the energy of it. I read this book called The Energy of Money, and money absolutely does have an energy. When you do not feel good about yourself, about your situation, it's harder to be in a magnetism energy. You want to be attracting things. You want to be a magnet and everything is coming to you. But when you are in survival mode, your energy is releasing and you are looking for things.
Right? You'll be at peace with your enemies, right? You'll be attracting good jobs. You'll be attracting good people to be around you to gather with. You'll be attracting all different type of things, money coming your way, everything when you have the right savings account, right? See this with spiritual laws. And like the sister said, when you have that security of knowing that you got money in your savings account, you move a little freely, and because of that, you can be more high spirited, and people are attracted to high spirited people.
They are running from you.
Come on, man. So good video. Let's get into these scripts real quick, man. I know it's late, so we're gonna run through these scripts and just talk about it, right? We'll start from left to right, if the brother could. Psalms 91 and 2.
Psalms 91 and 2.
Oh, wait. Left to right. My bad.
Psalms 91 and 2. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him will I trust.
Right? What is a savings account for? A refuge. It's a fortress, right? Meaning what? You can go to it when you need to hide from a situation. You can go to it when you need to provide for a situation. You can go to it when you need to be strong in a certain situation, right? A car breakdown, you got that savings account. Guess what happened? You could pay for it, right? Now the car fixed. That was your fortress. That was your refuge, right? The Most High God is that for us spiritually, right? That Most High God is that for us spiritually. When you got a sick family member on their deathbed and you it's time to go to prayer for them, and you telling the Lord it's not their time to die, and the Lord answers your prayer. He take that cancer out of them. He's your refuge. He's your fortress. That faith that you done built up will come to pass. Let's get the next one. 1 John 5 and 14.
The book of 1 John chapter 5 and verse 14. He says, and this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he heareth us.
Right? So the confidence, the security we get from having that savings account with the Most High, right, is that he hears us. We know, sometimes in the world, when you was in the world and you wasn't keeping the commandments and you was going to Christian church or whatever, or somebody asked you if you was going to go to heaven, you didn't know. If somebody asked you if God was pleased with you, you didn't know. But there's a confidence that comes with knowing that you're doing the right thing and according to God's eyes, right? You're in right standing with God. You're righteous, right? You know that he hears you when you're in your car, when you're in the shower, when you're on your job, when you're walking, right? When you're sleeping, he hear you when you pray. That's that confidence in building that savings account, that spiritual savings account, right? Let's get the next one, Isaiah 12 and 2.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 12, verse 2, and it reads, behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid, for the Lord Jehovah is my strength and my song. He also is become my salvation.
Right. And what is a savings, man? What is a savings? A savings is all tied back to the word salvation, because that savings is going to save you out of a situation, right? And guess what? God is our salvation, man. God is our savings account. He's the one that we can trust in. He's the one that causes us not to be afraid in any instance that we go in life, even though the situation may look scary, but we're not afraid. Why? Because we have that security in who? Jehovah, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahuwah, right? Yahuwah, Yahweh. We have that trust in him, and our strength comes from him. And our spirits are lifted and we sing because of him, right? He's our salvation, man. He's our spiritual savings account. Right, let's get the next one. Mark 11 and 22.
Mark 11 and 22. It says, and Jesus answering said unto them, have faith in God.
Right, have a savings account with God, man. Let's read verse 23.
For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed.
Right, so what it's talking about here is it's not talking about an actual mountain, although we know that the Most High God can move a mountain if he wants to. But this mountain right here is just talking about something big in your life. It's talking about a government. I think in this context, it's talking about a government, right? It's talking about something big in your life that needs to be moved. You can say for it to change and it will be changed. That's what it's talking about, right? Keep going.
Be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea.
Right. So you, like I said, you might have your car might break down. That might be something, that might be a mountain. And because you had a savings account, you were able to make that mountain move, that situation move, right? By fixing the car. So spiritually, you may have a mountain, like an example I said earlier, you may, catch a sickness or an illness, cancer or something, right? And guess what? because you have that spiritual savings account with the Most High God, you were able to go to him and fervently in prayer, and he heard you and he healed you, right? Not by mollifying plaster, but by the word of God. He healed you because of your spiritual savings account. You told that situation, that mountain to move, that cancer to move, and it was cast into the sea, right? Keep going.
And shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass.
Right, so a lot of brothers and a lot of sisters that's, you know, in the world, they might have a savings account and they feel free to gamble because they have no what? They have no doubt in their heart because they know they have the money in their savings account. Now you got some gamblers that, you know, they be gambling to build a savings account. They don't got none, but they got some doubt in their mind. But these people, they have no doubt in their mind that if they lose, they can pay it. If they win, all good. Those are people that go to the casinos, right? But messing with the Most High God, we should have no doubt in our heart, man, in anything that we do. That's what comes with getting that spiritual savings account, keeping the savings, right? Keep reading.
Con, he shall have whatsoever he saith.
Right, he shall have whatever he saith, man. That's that savings account. You can buy whatever you want when that savings account get a certain, you know, a certain depth. Right, let's get this next one. Psalms 121 and 2.
Psalms chapter 121 and verse 2. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth.
Right, our help comes from the Lord. It comes from our savings account. Somebody say, man, it's gonna your total's gonna be $400. You got it? I might have to call somebody. No, if you got that savings account, right, you gonna pay it. Your help come from your savings account, not from somebody else. So spiritually, our help come from our savings account, which is the Lord. We don't ask the Buddhists. We don't ask we don't get with the Nation of Islam and ask them to help out. We don't, you know, go and, you know, pimp out the Christian church. We don't do that. No, our help comes from the Lord and keeping his commandments. It comes from our faith, right? Let me see if there's more on that. Verse 3, let's read that.
Verse 3, he will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Right, you're going to walk around with some confidence, man, knowing that you can't be moved. Knowing that nobody can bribe you because you broke. Hey, bro, you can do this for me, bro. I'll pay you. Now you in a Diddy situation because you wanted some fortune and fame, right? But if you would have stood on the commandments, you would have been like, nah, nothing's worth that, right? This last precept I got, man, Nehemiah.
Big brother. Big brother has something to say, big brother.
Con. This is you had a scripture?
It was a point to go with.
We'll go back.
Con. Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, yeah, especially we were talking about the savings, you know, it's good, and you know, you don't do this, you know, for a reward, but you know, the Most High always say give alms and look out for the poor and things like that. And it's like when you do these things from the kindness of your heart and in sincerity, you having something saved up for the Most High, you know, because you giving to your people that's in need and things like that. So the Most High could be like, okay, you know, so and so did this, so I'm gonna look out for them. They've been looking out for my people, for the fatherless. Okay, I'm gonna look out for them. But if you never do these things and you kind of worry about your own self and about yourself only, you ain't got nothing saved up because you ain't did nothing for people. You ain't never helped nobody out. You've been so focused on yourself, man. So you ain't got nothing saved up in that day.
Con, man, I'll say this too, man. You know, just like when you get a job, and she was saying, like, man, every time you get paid, put $25 to the side. It's the same thing in the spiritual realm too. Every time you get blessed, man, every time the Lord reveals something to you, even a revelation, you know, you want to start putting this $25 aside spiritually, right? It doesn't always have to be charity because we understand, like, if you don't really got much to give because you're trying to save up yourself, we understand that. But you can do things like, you know, as soon as you get blessed, man, I got blessed, I got to give the Lord praise. And, you know, maybe you go on a fast. You know, a lot of times we only go on fast when bad things happen. Sometimes you go on fast when good things happen, man. Sometimes when something happens, I know I used to do this a lot. Whenever I used to get a blessing, man, I know we have set days now. But whenever I used to get blessing, man, that's when I would hit the brothers up in the past and be like, hey man, y'all trying to get on live. Because that would be my way of, kind of paying my tithes in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So there's always something you can do spiritually when you get blessed to help put that $25 aside in the savings account, if that makes sense.
Man, that goes into this precept right here, man. I said I was gonna read that last precept, but I got this precept right here pulled up. So and then we get that last precept. If the brother Isaiah could read this, Psalms 50, 14 and 15.
Psalms chapter 50, and you said verse 15 or 14?
14 and 15.
Okay, starting at verse 14. It says, offer unto God thanksgiving and pay thy vows unto the Most High.
Right. So what both the brothers just went into was paying a vow, whether it's charity, whether it's saying you're going to get on a live or do a lesson, whether that's paying tithes, whatever it is. These things help build up your spiritual treasure in heaven. For example, I have my first son on a Nazarite vow, and like I said, we don't do these things for reward, but we do sometimes. I have the faith in God, and hopefully God rewards me that if I had put my son on a vow for him, that he will bless my son when my son gets to be of age, right? So the thing is this: when we offer unto God thanksgiving, our praises, thanksgiving could be our praise, our worship, prayers. It could be fasting. It could be a vow that we take, like a brother might take a Nazarite vow or whatever for the Lord when he don't have to. He could be a regular brother out here, brother, but the brother took a Nazarite vow, right? These things help kind of build up your spiritual treasure, that the Lord will come to your rescue and he will come to your aid, because he knows that, oh, you're not just trying to be mediocre. You're trying to go above and beyond for the Lord and for the Lord's people. Let's read verse 15.
Verse 15, it says, and call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me.
Right. So he'll be that savings account for you. You can call on him on a day of trouble. He'll give you that loan. He'll give you that break that you need. He'll deliver you out of your situation, right? He'll glorify you. He'll make you shine, right? Let's get this last precept. Nehemiah chapter 8 and verse 10.
Nehemiah 8 and 10. Then he said unto them, go your way, eat the fat, drink the sweet, and send portions unto them for whom nothing is prepared. For this day is holy unto the Lord, neither be ye sorry, for the joy of the Lord is your strength.
It says the point, the joy of the Lord is your strength, right? The joy of the Lord is your strength. So the Lord is our savings account, man, and he will be our strength. And also he'll give us joy, right? He'll give us the confidence to have joy because we know that he's our salvation and he's our savings account. But man, that's all I had. If any brothers had any precepts, you can bring them forward. If not, we can end it down for the day.
Nah, I ain't got a precept, man. I just want to say you mighty lesson, like I said, man, I'm learning a lot in this season that I'm in. One thing I can say, sometimes, man, you got to take, I put it like this, man. Sometimes zeal, a certain zeal will put you in situations that realistically you shouldn't be in. And what I'm saying is ultimately allow yourself to learn the lesson, the valuable lesson of you can't help nobody unless you help yourself, right? And I don't mean that to say we can't give alms even with the little that we have. I don't mean that to say spiritually there's nothing we can do for nobody when we don't got it all together, because there is something. But the premise of I'm saying that is to learn how to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, more importantly, because it just makes it that much more easier in days that you need saving. You'll get to a day at a point in time in your life where you realize you done poured into a lot of people, you done did this for people, you done did that for people, but you got to reflect. And then when it's time for you to pull out your savings account, ain't nothing in there. So you just got to be smart about how you moving spiritually in the earth, and make sure that you storing riches up and treasures up in heaven for yourself, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it. But mighty lesson, Shabbat Shalom.
Brothers at the top.
Mighty lesson, man. Hey, all praise to the Most High, man. My mighty lesson, bro.
Come on, man. I like what the brother Isaiah said there too, man. There's a passage in Job where they were saying, hey, man, when you was on top, man, you was helping everybody, you was charitable, you was encouraging everybody, and now it's the Lord toucheth you, and now you act like you don't know what to do. But all that, comes from a lot of times, and a lot of us, we know Job's situation was a little different, but a lot of times with us, like the brother Isaiah is, we're so giving and our heart is so big that we want to help other people out. And a lot of times we'll deplenish ourselves for the other people, which is a notable act. It's a mighty act and it's a zealous act. But we got to understand too, like the brother said, the phrase of we cannot help other people unless we help ourselves. Abraham was able to make armies and build a nation because he had helped himself first, right? You build up yourself first, right? And you'll be able to build up the masses, right? I think the phrase is get your house in order, right? Get your house in order, and then you can get all the other houses underneath you or beside you in order. So with that, man, we're going to tie it up for today. Like our big brother Christ said, if you're not gathering, you're scattering. So gather together, O nation, I desire with the hopeful elect. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.